All right. Here we go, guys and gals. And boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, drivers.
And we are back for episode 32 of the Loose Wheel Podcast, Season 2. Andrew Hazlett here, along with Ethan Ignatowski.
Hello.
Per usual. And at the end of last episode, Ethan said, "Don't be a big dummy."
Yeah, I did say that.
I was a big dummy by not posting the graphic saying that we have a new episode out on the Instagram. Follow the Instagram. But I wasn't the biggest dummy of the week. That happened last week at Richmond. So let's get into the reviews.
And now for last week's race reviews.
Richmond only race, Xfinity happened. The winner was someone. I don't know. I don't remember. Actually, it was trucks. So I couldn't remember who won Xfinity because there wasn't an Xfinity race. The truck race winner was
Ty Majeski.
So at the exact same time. So going into the race, the big story was everyone had two sets of the alternate red option tire. And it was interesting to see how they were going to be used throughout the race. So yeah, that was an interesting thing to note. Stage one, it was took us to lap 70. Hamlin was on pole and led the race. Christopher Bell passed Hamlin on lap 47 and went on to win stage one. Stage two, that would take us to lap 230. Bell spins Eric Jones on pit road, coming off of the stage caution. Top five were Bell, Hamlin, Truex, Logano, Austin Dillon. Two cars went to the alternate tire. They were Suarez and McDowell. Hamlin passes Bell on the restart. Suarez and McDowell, they were up big, making moves. Suarez up to the lead on lap 94. Green flag pit stops. After that, the order was Bell, Suarez, Truex, Hamlin, Logano. But there are a couple of differing strategies. Your one-stop people were trying to do a one-stop strategy instead of the two, where Larson, Reddick, Stenhouse, Keselowski. A lot of people were on the option tire. They were Barry, Cindric, Preece, Gilliland, Smith, and Keselowski. Green flag pit stops. Gilliland sped rather. After the green flag pit stops, Reddick, Larson, Suarez, Bell, Stenhouse. Brad Keselowski was still on option tires because he was still on the one-stop strategy. Suarez to lead lap 190. Your other option tires were Gibbs, Buescher, Bowman, and yeah, that's it. On Kyle Busch, I skipped him. Suarez on stage 2. Stage 3 takes us top 400, and Bell, Suarez, Hamlin, Logano, Austin Dillon. All 17 lead lap cars except Suarez were on the alternate option tires. Truex, he blew up and went to the pit. He retired from the race. Suarez back to 16th. Cindric, who was a lap down at this point, lost power steering. Your cars with no option tires left were Barry, McDowell, and Hocevar. Green flag pit stops. Bell and Bowman were speeding. So that had the top five being Hamlin, Logano, Reddick, Dillon, Bubba Wallace. No lead lap cars on reds. Another round of green flag pit stops. No lead lap cars on reds. And I thought, crew chiefs, come on, man. Someone take the red tire that was on the lead lap. Blaney and Suarez, they did take the reds, but they lost lap because they stayed out long. But come on, like, other leaders, you have this go fast button that you can take, and no one did it. And there had been no cautions the entire race except for the stage cautions. You'd figure, okay, I thought that would be the prevailing strategy, but no. 28 to go, Austin Dillon, he goes to the lead. And then with 2 to go, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. just clears Ryan Preece, setting up an overtime finish. Everyone pits, takes red, but reds except for I think everyone does it. That's on the lap. Everyone, but I thought someone should have stayed out on the old prime tires and say, okay, that's just roll the dice. But no one did. No one wanted to roll the dice. Logano, he went to the lead, passing Dillon, and then coming into turn 3, Austin Dillon, way far back, hits Joey Logano, spins, and then Dillon, he washes up the track, so Hamlin's coming through, and Dillon turns left into Hamlin, who gets right rear hooked into the wall, and Dillon goes on to win. I said, don't be a big dummy, and there were plenty of big dummies post-race. So going on the cool down lap into the pits, Logano, when he came in, he did a burnout in front of Dillon's pit crew friends and family who were trying to get to the celebration. So that was a big dummy move there on Logano. He's probably going to get fined for that, as he should be. But he did have a right to be frustrated, but he shouldn't have done that. And then when the first interviewed, Logano says his move is chicken, and a word redacted for FCC guidelines. Ethan spelling incorrectly.
Dude, you know what? That's like not important.
I just wanted to make fun of you. But yeah, Logano says that you can figure you can figure what it is. You can, if you want to know, you want to know. And then Hamlin called the move crossing an invisible line. And then Reddick, he said, Logano took the words from me. He finished third, saw it happen right in front of it. Yeah. Bubba Wallace, who finished 5th, he's battling for this, what is now going to be 1 playoff spot instead of 2 because Austin Dillon his move to win. He was criticizing his move, and at the end of this interview, he says the exact same thing Logano said. Chicken, you can fill in the rest. So yeah, that's just a collective big dummy moment. Except for, well, not for Hamlin and Reddick. That's appropriate, but yeah, what Austin Dillon did was bad. But we're not gonna go to that yet. We're gonna first talk about the spotter audio from in turn 3, and referencing when Hamlin's passing him, spotter says wreck him.
You just can't do that.
You can't. First of all, you shouldn't be saying a guy to wreck. You shouldn't be wrecking guys. And him falling through on that's pretty incriminating. Big dummy. And then Richard in the media center, that audio was played for Richard Childress, who said, "Oh yeah, you just can't believe everything you see on the internet." That's literally the audio. That's what happened. He's just a denier.
How could you denied that? That's insane.
But he initially denied it and then said, "Oh yeah, it's perfectly acceptable."
Okay, no, that is not perfectly acceptable. You can't have someone tell your driver to crash into another person. And then also, your driver can't purposefully wreck someone like that, especially in that situation. Like,
Mhm.
mind-boggling. Actually mind-boggling that was a real thing that happened at Richmond.
So before you're gonna introduce a new segment here, but we're gonna talk about the good of this race. It was an 8 out of 10, but was also a 5 out of 10 at the same time. The racing was good. What the last 2 laps was weird. Yeah, but it's kind of hard to put a number on it because I'll go into this later. It's what NASCAR wants to see, but it's what I don't want to see. But with the option tires, that was great. I loved it. I think doing two tires is something that NASCAR can do. I don't love it. I would rather say, okay, let's just run the what was the option tire, because I think that had interesting fall off to be an interesting race, but they didn't. So we don't know how it would have fared, but I do think the 2 tire thing worked. I liked having only 2 sets. So the crew chiefs, okay, had different strategies of when to use them. I thought there would be more, but it was still interesting regardless. However, this is with Austin Dillon and team. They get, I hope you can hear it. You get the Chicken Award. Yeah, and we got the Chicken Award, and as well as the Chicken Award. Beautiful chicken noise. And as well as the Chicken Award, we're introducing a new segment called, it's not going to appear every week. We're going to use this possibly as like I don't know how we're going to use it sparingly. We're going to use it differently every time. But it's basically where I'm going to go for or one of us is going to go for a certain amount of time, and then the other one us has a chance to have a rebuttal, summary, ask questions.
It's like a debate, but not necessarily one of us is disagreeing with the other.
Yeah, it's just like that. So
it gives us a chance to rant without the rant getting so far out of hand.
Yeah. So it's called The Wheels Have Lost It. And boy, there were some wheels that lost it there. Austin Dillon just blatantly wrecking 2 guys. It's just Austin Dillon in his career. He has 5 wins, 5 Cup wins, okay? How has he won those, you ask? First one was a fuel mileage race. Second one, he had to dump Eric Almirola to win. Third one, it was at Texas when it was so bad, no one could pass. There was no tire fall off. So he just said, okay, I'm not going to take tires, and had his teammate act as a rear gunner for him. So yeah, Daytona in the next year or whatever, NASCAR has a big dummy moment of letting the cars go onto a wet track, have the field just get obliterated, except for 3 competitive cars and a bunch of back markers. One of them being Austin Dillon's, and him and his teammate, who was acting as a rear gunner. When another car managed to get around him, what did he do? He dumped that guy. So yeah, and then his 5th one, dumping 2 guys. Austin Dillon, I hate this term that I'm going to use. I think it's a terrible term. I don't think it should be used. I don't think it should be used for what the Dodgers did in 2020. It just cringes me when taken seriously. Austin Dillon is such a Mickey Mouse driver. It's the most Mickey Mouse of Mickey Mouse of Mickey Mouse. Dude hasn't had ever a win without some sort of controversy behind it. Just he's got to stick his head in places where he doesn't have to. Because he could probably have 2 wins, or if he just didn't be over aggressive. He's done this in the Xfinity Series. He's done this in the Truck Series. Why expect this guy to change? He won't. And you have to imagine, oh yeah, shouldn't the owners of the team be talking to him, saying, "Oh, Austin, you should probably calm down." No, the team is ran by his dad, Mike Dillon, who was a slow driver. You can do research on Mike Dillon. That's a fun time. And then the owner of the team is Richard Childress, his grandpa. His grandpa and his dad aren't going to tell him to change. So no, that's just terrible. Additionally, NASCAR is loving this because what it does for the system is it creates drama, it creates excitement. But no, we have cars right rear hooking people, which has been a suspension in the past. I think it should happen now. And Danny Hamlin said on his podcast yesterday, if he gets the championship what's stopping him from just right rear hooking his whole competition? NASCAR hasn't done anything against Dillon yet. Elton Sawyer might come on today or tomorrow and say something. But yeah, if NASCAR doesn't do anything, what's going to stop someone from doing that later? So that's really frustrating. And it's just such an entirely of an unnecessary debacle, and it goes to the playoffs. The playoff system needs to be changed so we don't have guys that are 32nd points coming into Richmond who have been abysmal all year say, okay, we can't just win you're in anymore. What I think is I don't know if I've said it on here. What I believe in the past, what you should do is go back to one of the newer variations of the chase before it became the playoffs. Have it be top 10 points, make it in, guaranteed, and then 2 wild cards, which are the top guys in whoever has the most wins of your next however many guys are. I think this year it's 24. It's 34 full time. So of your next 24, take the guys that have the two guys that have the most wins. If there's a tie between them, take the guy who's highest in points. And then, okay, if nobody has wins, have 11 and 12 in points come in. So that's just everything. I hope so to just sum it all up here, I hope NASCAR says, okay, let's put the kibosh on this from happening again. I would say suspend Austin Dillon, because I will say it wasn't egregious compared to what Chase Elliott and Bell Wallace did in the past with that suspension, but just the place of it is egregious.
All right.
So yeah, that's just kind of everything. I put the kibosh on that so that this just doesn't happen again. It can just snowball. Stop the snowball. Stop it, because right now it's just a little ball before it becomes big and knocks the whole town out. So yeah, that's basically what I have to say. Ethan,
I agree with you.
What do you got?
I agree with you pretty much on everything. You can't be doing all that stuff, and also nothing internally is going to stop Dillon from continuing to do that. So NASCAR needs to put the foot down, and like you said, they don't want to because they think it's good for the sport. It's really not. They're taking an all news is good news type of approach to this situation, but that's just not it. Like, there's so many people on Twitter making fun of NASCAR for this, wondering how this can happen. Like, I've seen more people get turned off from the sport by this than more people going like, yeah, that's pretty interesting. I think I'll watch NASCAR next week. Like, this isn't good. This isn't an all news is good news situation. Look at the response to this. But even then, it shouldn't be like dictated on the public's response what NASCAR does here, because what he did was not only extremely unsportsmanlike, but dangerous, intentionally wrecking your opponents like that. You can't be doing any of that. It's not true to the order of who had the fastest car, who had the best drive. It's just wrecking your opponents to, like you said, and I know you don't like it. I have no problem saying it. Mickey Mouse win. Like, congratulations, you're Chick Hicks.
Yeah. I've never seen the NASCAR Twitter community more aligned. And you've done something bad when you've got Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano, two of the guys that
Getting
dislike
support
her.
from all corners of NASCAR Twitter.
Yeah. Two of the guys that dislike each other the most saying, "Oh yeah, we agree that it's bad." What Austin Dillon did against Logano, that's largely fine, I would say. But what he did against Hamlin is right rear hooking people. That's the issue. Bump and runs have been a thing in NASCAR for a while. Even though Austin's was a dump and run, that dump and runs have been a thing in NASCAR for a while. It is what it is. It's part of the sport. But right rear hooking guys isn't. That's the issue here. And this takes out Austin Dillon coming in from what was 32nd. He is in actual points. He is 26th now. But yeah, he was 32nd. But who does it take out in the playoffs? Chris Buescher. He could have won twice this year, where he had in Kansas, where he lost to Larson by a fender. He didn't touch Larson. He let the race play out to the best of his ability and said, "Okay, whoever wins it, clean race." That's arguably the best finish in NASCAR's history, that race at Kansas. And then you go to Darlington the next week, where he had another chance. He kind of he got taken out by Reddick, who he was racing cleanly. And Buescher, he was upset about it. And now him not racing hard is going to take him out of the playoffs. That's not who Buescher is. He's a clean race car driver. I can't think of a time Buescher just wrecked somebody. He's not that guy. And that dirty move could potentially take out, I don't know how the playoffs are going to shake out from here, one of the cleanest guys.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate. He should have got, if not disqualified, which some people might think is a little too extreme, at the very least, he should have got like a significant time penalty, 5 seconds, 10 seconds.
NASCAR really doesn't do time penalties.
I know they don't, but they should have.
And what NASCAR would do is say, "Okay, we're moving you to the back of the cars that finished on the lead lap." That's the equivalent of
Then
a
that's
time penalty.
should have done, honestly. Because I mean, say what you want about Formula One, but something like that would never happen. And if it did happen, if Nikita Mazepin was back on the grid or something, and he was somehow in a position like that, or just anything like that, and it did happen, that driver would get the book thrown at him.
Yeah. The right rear hooking somebody into a wall. That's what I have an issue with. I think Austin Dillon should be suspended. This is the perfect opportunity to say, for NASCAR to say, "Okay, we are going to suspend you." This loses your playoff eligibility, which is, if they were to say this loses your playoff eligibility, that would be something that they haven't, is not precedent, but I think that this is what should happen. It loses your playoff eligibility. You're back to 20 whatever in the point standings. And quite honestly, this probably doesn't happen again, because congratulations, you got the win, but it doesn't really mean anything that you got the win. You get, you know what I'm saying? That's what NASCAR should do at this point. Will they? No.
Yeah.
Do you think Dillon should be suspended, Ethan?
No, I think that the punishment should have been given out at the end of that race, or whenever to move Dylan down the order or disqualify him, one of the two. And then I don't really know if NASCAR does grid drop penalties, but something
No.
like that for the next race. I mean, I feel like if it was handled in that way, he wouldn't need to be suspended. And since nothing at all happened, that makes me want to say, like, yes, he should be suspended. But the only reason I'm saying that is because nothing happened. And since nothing happened, there's zero chance that NASCAR actually does suspend him. You know what I mean?
I think there's a chance that they suspend him because when they announce the penalty reports, either Tuesday night or Wednesday, some point, we'll see when. There's a chance. It is a slim chance.
Since they didn't do anything and they've just been like promoting it and hyping it up, I don't know. Although we've seen this even earlier this year from NASCAR, like when there was that fight between who was it, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Kyle Busch, and they were, throwing out punishments left and right, which very deserved, which we talked about at the time. But they were also like promoting it as like something amazing. Like, you honestly can't have it both ways. You need to drop the foot.
And I go back to, I think it was 2022, Ross Chastain. He does the Hail Melon. And now, you know what NASCAR did? They promoted it. And you know what else they did? They banned it.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah. So it's a possibility, but we'll see. Finally, playoff picture, big shakeup. Only 3 guys left in with 3 races that are spots unsecure. You've got Truex plus 78. That engine blowing up killed him there. Ty Gibbs, he was looking comfortable. He had almost a race distance to the bubble. Not anymore. Didn't have a great race, and the bubble moved on him. 18 points plus 18. Bubba Wallace was at 1.60 back of what would be the first guy out. Now he's 3 in on Buescher and Chastain. And then it's a ways back to the next guy. So, yeah, everyone else can move in. And here's an interesting note, is a couple of years ago, NASCAR had a rule where you had to be top 30 in points if you had to win to make the playoffs. That rule has been removed. So it's interesting to see if Austin Dillon, currently 26th, 21 points above 31st now, if he can stay above that line. Because if he does fall below that line, it makes you wonder, should NASCAR re-implement that rule? I don't know. But there's a lot of interesting questions moving forward from this. All right. That was a fun little thing there. Chicken Award, Austin Dillon and company. Let's squeak it again here for fun.
And now for the news.
Moving into the news here.
Yeah, let's try to go through this somewhat quickly.
Got some drivers signing with teams. Daniel Suarez and sponsor Freeway Insurance returning to Trackhouse number 9, 2025. I expected that to happen, as what was the only Richard Shield or ECR engine Chevy win this year until Austin Dillon won. So that I would expect them to re-sign there, just because ties to Pitbull. Yeah. I think he could be on a hot seat next year. We'll see. Eric Jones signs multi-year extension with Legacy Motor Club, which I like Eric Jones. I think he deserves way better than Legacy, but I don't know if there's anyone better than Legacy this offseason. Maybe Spire? Who knows? Yeah, I do feel Eric Jones deserves better. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Connor Zilich to run full Xfinity Series scheduled junior motorsports in 2025.
I like that move.
I like that move. It's won a lot of things. It'll be curious to see how he runs next year. Probably do 2 years in Xfinity, see how that goes. Maybe move him up to Cup after that, or give him a third year.
Yeah, he hasn't raced in Xfinity yet before, has he? I know he had a couple of
He might have
truck
had a
starts.
couple. I don't know if he's had an Xfinity start yet. I think he has.
Okay. Yeah, I remember he got that fourth place at Coda in trucks. That was an impressive race for him.
I don't think he's made his Xfinity debut yet,
Okay.
which is scheduled for later this year with Junior Motorsports. He's got 4 races. So we'll see how those go. AJ Allmendinger going to return to the Colleague number 13 entry at Talladega. That's always good to see more cars coming to races. So yeah, a lot of some fans, some people on social media say, "Oh, this is an interesting sponsor." It's one race. It's not very political. Just founded by a guy who just I think
I need to look this up.
a guy who I first heard of in politics this year. So, and I don't even know if he's technically still active in politics. I don't know. Yeah,
Wait, text me. I don't see anything.
I'll tell you after. But people
Okay.
need to chill. It's only one race. Checks are probably going to clear.
I'll take your word for it.
NASCAR will open up a little strategy options for what other conditions on ovals. They'll mandate you for being on dry tire. They'll mandate you for being on wet tire. But you will now have the opportunity to go change wet tires as you please. So that's good. Hopefully they'll let people go from dry to wet as they please after the next race. And then here's one that kind of collides with our baseball fandom. Bristol
sir.
Motor Speedway to host MLB game between the Reds and the Braves 2025. That'll be interesting to see how they fit fans in.
It'll be interesting to see what the field looks like.
Yep.
I had an absolute banger on Twitter, not on my professional account, unfortunately, so I'm not gonna go too into it. If you know my personal account, you know my personal account. But it looks like one of the mock-ups I saw makes it look like the Polo Grounds had a child. And
Yeah.
Twitter thought that was a funny idea.
Yeah. The way I think I saw it was when Bob posted about it, Bob Pockris, better known as Bob. When he posted about it, looks like they're going to have left field be perpendicular to the straights, and then the left field foul line be perpendicular, right field foul line be parallel with the straights. You can kind of envision that.
Yeah, I think the more official mock-up, or at least like the one that MLB has kind of used, looks at least more like a normal baseball field.
Yeah.
So
We would all love a Polo Grounds.
yeah, that would be pretty fun. That would be fun. It seems like such a weird idea to host a baseball game at a racetrack, and let alone Bristol, which there isn't a whole lot of room there. Like, you get one of the bigger circuits, you start to think like, okay, yeah, I mean, I guess you could fit a baseball field in there, but I don't know. Bristol would have not been my first thought.
I think they'll make it work.
No, they will for sure. It's just
Yeah.
like, who would have thought?
Yeah. Moving over to IndyCar land, some juicy stuff here. Agustin Canapino back to Brazilian touring car series you go. Juncos Racing, they've split for the rest of the year. we'll see who's going to be in the number 78 Chevrolet for the rest of the year. Probably Connor Daly for the ovals. We'll see. Yeah. Big W with that one. No more. Hopefully, this will be the final time in IndyCar where death threats will be issued with people when the tail Porsche incident happened with Canapino. So hopefully none of that will stay around. So yay. Ethan, how are we feeling?
I'm sorry, I was distracted by something. Say that again.
How you feel that Canapino splitting with Juncos
Oh,
under?
I love it. I don't want to be a hater. I just like, Augustine Canapino is first of all not that great. Second of all, causes a lot of problems. So I think it's the smart move for Juncos, if they want to be taken seriously, to move on from him. And looks like they do want to be taken at least somewhat seriously. So props to them. Credit where credit's due,
David Malukas, he signs a multi-year deal with AJ Foyt Racing. So this will be interesting. He could have had a ride at Shank, but I think he's going to Foyt, and then Will Power. He's getting up there in age. He's going to retire soon. Who does Penske have an alliance with? Foyt. That might be Will Power's replacement. This probably means the end of Stingray Rob's career in IndyCar, but that's for a good cause. Gotta love David Malukas.
Shout out Stingray Rob, though. I mean, big shout out.
Yeah, he's a serviceable driver for the most part. Doesn't get in many wrecks.
Where do you think he'll go if car is
Idaho. Back to whatever he was doing before racing.
Doesn't I think his parents own like a supermarket or something like that? You think
Yeah,
he's gonna take over the family business?
maybe. I just don't. Or maybe sports cars.
Yeah, come on, give him a future career in something.
LMP3. Wait, LMP3's gone. LMP2.
Yeah, future Le Mans winner Stingray Rob.
I wouldn't go
Come on,
that
man.
far.
I'm going that far.
Well, we'll see.
Anyway, Graham Rahal news.
Well, Ray Hall.
Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan Racing.
RLL Lord. Anyway, they confirmed Yuri Vips will return in the number 75 fourth entry for Portland. So we'll see how they do as a team. This might be a trial run. See how well this goes. He might be in either the 30 or the 45 car next year for Rahal. We'll see. They might have, because Rahal's the only guy signed at the team. Who knows? Anyway, Alexander Rossi will be racing at Gateway this weekend after he had a hand injury. So that's always good. Good to see guys get healthy.
Yeah.
So that they can race cars. Yay.
I couldn't have said it any better myself.
Want to go into the Formula One land, Ethan?
Let's go over to Formula One land. Vroom, vroom, we're there. Actually, I'm going to talk about that last. F1, they could be adding 2 new countries to the calendar. And one of them, actually both of them, are pretty surprising to me. But this is coming from a report from motorsport.com about half a week ago. They were announcing that Rwanda, the country in Africa, representatives from Rwanda could meet with F1 bosses next month to discuss a, quote, serious bid to host a race. We talked about F1 returning to Africa, South Africa, racing at Kailami, which is a track that F1 has raced on in the past, a track that a lot of fans want the sport to go back to. And it's a FIA grade 2 track, but it's a track that could be upgraded to grade 1 pretty easily, and a track that F1 cars could actually race on. So when talking about F1 in Africa, it's pretty much been South Africa or nothing. But now Rwanda is coming into the picture, and I mean, pretty surprisingly, it would, at least it looks like that race, if it were to happen, would be on a permanent track. Stefano Domenicali, the CEO of Formula One, he said enough himself. He said that the race would be on a permanent track, which is not what I would have expected at all. And it's what I like to see, because permanent tracks produce better racing than street circuits 9 times out of 10. So happy to see that. If it's a good track, if they can support an F1 race, I would love to see that. I think that would be so interesting. It would bring F1 to a place that they've never gone before, a place that no one would really think F1 would go to, and it could do, I think it could do a lot of good for both parties there. And then the second place that and sorry, just to say this, like Domenicali and the representatives or whatever, they're going to meet again in a month. They've already met with the FIA at the Monaco Grand Prix. So like this is like a serious ordeal. They're seriously trying to get an F1 race to Rwanda. And they're hosting FIA events and like the prize giving ceremony and all that. So they're trying to get into the motorsport world, and I respect that a lot. So the next country then mentioned in the article is Thailand, which has been talked about before, and it was originally going to be a street race. Domenicali said that with Bangkok, we have different options on the table. So that could mean that it's going to be like a street race still, and they just haven't decided on the exact location. But, that gives some hope that it might be on a permanent circuit as well. But we'll see with that. So there's less information on that. But Thailand and Rwanda, like two countries that, the F1 calendar is already huge, but two countries that could maybe find their way onto that calendar in the somewhat near future.
Yeah. Thailand is surprising but not shocking, because you think about it, Thailand's kind of always on the map for things in general, just kind of there, not
I mean,
spotlight.
Thai flagged driver on the grid and Alex Albon.
Yep, that you've got that. If you just said, Andrew, you got in Africa, there's a country coming back, possibly coming to the F1 circuit or calendar. I would have said my top 5 would have been South Africa, Morocco, Egypt, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. I would have never guessed Rwanda in my wildest dreams. That's a surprise. I'm surprised and I'm shocked. I know we're not in person here, Ethan, today, but you would have seen a look on my face like, huh?
I bet, because when I saw that headline, I was surprised as well. I was thinking okay, they want to host an F1 race. Okay, sure. But like reading through all the information, like they are serious about it. They're getting more involved with the FIA. They're I don't know anything about racetracks in Rwanda. I assume that they don't have anything that's, I mean, I know they don't have anything that's FIA grade 1. I mean, I don't know if they have anything that's grade 2 even. So a new track would probably have to be built from scratch. I might be completely wrong in that, but like you said, like that's just not a place I would have imagined.
All right.
So
Let me check here.
yeah,
On
Thailand, they will be meeting with Stefano Domenicali after the Singapore Grand Prix as well. I think I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, Rwanda does not have any grade track.
Yeah.
Thailand has a grade 3 street circuit and a grade 2, a grade 1 track. The Chang International Circuit in Buriram. So
Berea Ram International Circuit. Yeah. I mean, okay. Looks from the layout, it looks like an F1 track. I was about to say this has to be a Herman Tilke, however you say his name.
mhm.
It's got to be the boy Herman that built it, and sure enough, it is. Shout out Herman.
It kind of feels like a different version of the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, like an elongated straight. I can see what you mean. And there's like, yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know who's like raced on it. Okay, like Asian Le Mans has raced there. They host motorcycle racing. Okay, like
the GT World Challenge Asia,
yeah.
TCR Asia Series,
I
the
mean,
Asia Road Racing Championship.
people race on the track, so I mean, cool. I wonder if that is in contention because Dominicali specifically said Bangkok. I don't know if this is like a suburb of Bangkok. If not, it might not be on the like potential list. So let's see.
It's
not anywhere near Bangkok. Okay. So maybe, but doesn't seem likely. But that would be sure. Have a race there for a year. If it's good, bring it back on the calendar.
Yeah.
I don't know. But moving on to the next piece of news. The next two pieces are pretty quick. Oscar Piastri. Andrew, he's had a broken rib since the British Grand Prix. That is kind of crazy. And no one knew about it until he tweeted a couple days ago saying, first part of the season done, first GP victory, first broken bone, ribs enjoying the break. Little play on words there, maybe. I'm not sure. But he posted the X-ray of his rib. It is his L6th rib fracture. Maybe that means something to someone listening. Doesn't really mean anything to me. I don't know anatomy like that, but I mean, it's one of his ribs. And the scan,
the 6th one on the left.
that would be a pretty good guess, Andrew. Maybe we can make a doctor out of you yet. His X-ray is dated to the 8th of July, which is the day after Silverstone. So, I mean, I can't remember. I can't remember him having like any off-track excursion or incident that could have broken his ribs. So I'm not exactly really sure what happened there, but the point is he raced in Hungary and in Belgium with a broken rib, and that doesn't sound like it would be too fun at all. So the fact that he had some of his best performances of the season with a broken rib, I mean, dude's going crazy. Shout out Oscar Piastri. Next piece of news, Audi is rumored, and we don't normally talk about rumors, but this one is interesting enough that I did want to talk about it. Audi is reportedly considering signing Alex Palou for 2025 and assumingly beyond. Now, Alex Palou in the past has expressed interest for going over to Formula One. He has also expressed that he's pretty sure his chances of going to F1 are over. So if Audi does sign him a contract, I wonder if he would take it, because I'm sure would still be interested in it. He just didn't think it was a possibility. And now that the possibility is back on the table, like, I would kind of expect him to jump on it. But he has a great thing going on in IndyCar. He's been the champion there. He's got a shot at winning the championship again this year. And he's comfortable in IndyCar. I don't know if he would want to, at this point in his career, risk it, but he's also talked that he wants to. So I don't really know. It's interesting though, and I think it would be a good move. Like, I think he's definitely F1 material. Like, he's proved it. He's one of the best drivers in IndyCar. He could make the jump, and I wouldn't really hear anyone say anything else, because I just don't agree with that. But Planet F1, they are the guys that are saying this could be a possibility. We'll see if it happens or not, but don't be shocked if it does, is the point of me going over this. But Andrew, like, what do you think about that?
I think he would, if he wanted to, I think he would excel in it.
Yeah.
However, I don't think he wants to, there was a Spanish article that said, I didn't read the article because I don't speak Spanish, but a quote came out of it that he said, "I prefer 2 IndyCar titles to no Formula One wins."
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I don't blame him, because he would have to, if he were to go to Formula One, I think it would have to be a team who can win races, has the potential to win races, and where the Audi team is with the Sauber and the Kick and the Stake.
But Andrew,
I don't think that they're a place where you can be winning.
true, but he has also in the past said he wants to go to Formula One, and he's already won 2 titles, and he's on pace to win a 3rd. If he does that, like, he's accomplished IndyCar. He can go explore F1, and even if he leaves F1 after a couple of years, he could still come back to IndyCar, get a top seat, and continue winning in IndyCar.
Well, here's one thing that I think is going to keep him in IndyCar, that's going to be a factor, something that he has not done. Alex Palou has yet to win an Indy 500. I think he wants that right now a lot. I think that, and he knows he can win one.
I could see that, but I don't know. Like, really, the only, we'll only know when it's announced or isn't announced. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, he's come close to winning the 500 in the past. I guess I could see that holding him back. For the last piece of news, Christian Horner's accuser's appeal has been dismissed, according to Newsweek. Essentially what happened is Red Bull had hired a independent third party to look into the original investigation and his accuser's appeal request, and they've basically come to the conclusion that the original decision was the correct decision, and that's that, really. So that whole ordeal comes to an end. Yeah, that's just kind of the facts of it.
All right. Time for the previews here. We're going to get this out quickly for you.
And now for next week's race picks.
IndyCar goes to Gateway with Indy next. Going in, there are some seat changes. In the 18 this week is Jack Harvey and for Dale Coyne, and in the 51 this week,
Yeah.
we have driver TBA expected to be Catherine Legg. Alexander Rossi will be back in the 7 for Arrow McLaren this week after the thumb injury, as we mentioned. We have the 20 will be Ed Carpenter this week because he likes to drive the ovals. And then finally, you have in the 78 will be likely Connor Daly. We'll see. As Augustin Campino will not be in that seat. We'll see. Your 5 drivers to watch there. I'm going to rattle off the Penske trio of Will Power, Joseph Newgarden, Scott McLaughlin. Joseph Newgarden, 4 wins there, 1 pole. Will Power has 1 win there and 4 poles. And then Scott McLaughlin, he has a pole there, but he has his oval time in his IndyCar. He's improved that. So I'd watch out for him. 4th driver, Scott Dixon. He's won there twice. Has a pole there. And for my 5th driver, there's no one else in the field that has a win or pole at Gateway that's active. So I'm going to say the guy who finished on the podium there last year, David Malukas. Look out for him too. My 5th guy to watch. Going over to Indy next real quick to highlight some driver changes for you there. Gateway is the 9th or 10th, 11th race. So you have Jordan missing in the Able Motorsports 21, and Taylor Ferns will be in the Able Motorsports 55. That's really all the changes from the last race, I believe. Yeah, that's really it. So yeah, a couple changes there for Indy next. Going over to NASCAR, the Cup and Xfinity, going to Michigan, and we have some driver changes there. You have Daniel Dye will be in the 10 this week, the 4th Colleague car. Wallace Allen will be in the 15 AM car this week. You in the Joe Gibbs Racing All-Star cars, you have the 19 will be Taylor Gray, 20 will be John Hunter Nemechek. The Sam Hunt Toyota will be driven by Jeffrey Earnhardt. Going down the list, you have the 3rd Alpha Prime car will be driven by Cesar Baccarella. You have 2nd Joey Gase car. The Joey Gase cars will be driven by Joey Gase 35. 53 will be Morgan Baird. You have in the 88 for Junior Motorsports, that's the 5th car, Carson Kvapil. In the 2nd DGM car, the 92, Josh Bilicki. The SS Greenlight cars will be Patrick Emmerling in the 07, Logan Beard in the 14. And finally, Noah Gregson will be pulling up in the Rhett Jones 30. In the Cup race, your notable entries are Cody Ware in the 15, AJ Allmendinger in the 16. This is the first race in a while, I believe, Iowa, if I'm not mistaken, that we've had 36 cars, not a extra entry. But your 5 drivers to watch for the Cup race in Michigan, I will start off with 2-time winner Denny Hamlin. Hasn't won there since 2011, but is always good here. Going down the list, I'm going to go with 3-time winner Kyle Larson. Hasn't won here with Hendrick, but is still good. For my 3rd driver, I'm going to go with 2-time winner three-time winner actually, Joey Logano. Gonna go with Ryan Blaney, who's won in the next gen car, and Chris Buescher, the defending winner. Actually, Blaney has not won. He won the last Gen 6 race, I believe. But yeah. And then the one driver that has won one that I left off, Kyle Busch. So he's an honorable mention, but Kyle Busch is not doing so well this year. So Ethan, let's fire it up into the pick points.
And now for next week's race previews.
Let's do it. So last week, after letting Andrew get back into the race, and not to say that he isn't still in the race, because he very much is, but I've lost some ground to Andrew over the past couple of weeks for the most part, except for last week where I almost had a perfect weekend. I predicted Ty Majeski to win the truck race, which he did over Connor Zilich and Grant Enfinger. And then for the main race, I picked Denny Hamlin. After Logano was being sent into the wall by Austin Dillon, looked like Denny for like a split second, it was Denny Hamlin's race. And then, well, we all know what happened there. But he still did finish ahead of your pick, Chris Buescher, and then Chase Elliott. So 6 points for me, 264 to 250 to 200. The guests, by going scoreless, are now on a 3-week scoreless streak. Definitely worth mentioning. Who's doing the guest picks this week, Andrew?
My dad is. And additionally, it is the longest race is back-to-back in the sheet that they've not scored a point. The previous record was me with 10.
So it'll be up to Andrew's dad to, end this streak. I think it'd be hilarious if they again got 0, but I think your dad has at least a solid record of picking, does he not? Let's see. You have the stats on here somewhere. Your dad,
he averages he loses on average to the points leader 9 1/3 per week.
Okay, so
I think that's going to go down this week.
Oh man.
But anyway, going into everything,
let's do it. Louis Foster. He was all of our picks for Indy Next. You picked Scott McLaughlin for Gateway.
I did.
Yes, and go ahead.
His oval prowess is getting better and better and
definitely.
Better.
And
I think here's the thing, Ethan. I know this is a long episode, but the way his oval prowess is going, if Chevy can just pick up where they were last year, I think he's the top dog at Chevy now. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Either him or Newgarden or Power. Or maybe Pato, but
yeah, it's between those guys. Speaking of Pato, though, I do have Pato Award. Like you said, McLaughlin has been getting better at the ovals, but Award is another guy that is good at ovals and good at Gateway. He's finished second and then fourth twice the last 3 times there, so always there or thereabouts. I'll pick him to break through this time. And then your dad, he picked Alex Palou.
He's going to be trying to go for his first oval win in his career.
In the Xfinity series, he picked Jesse Love. I went with Justin Allgaier.
Nice spelling, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know how to spell his name. And you went with Cole Custer. So we both went with guys who have been pretty good in the past at Michigan.
Yeah, I was looking. There's no past winner in the Xfinity Series field at Michigan.
Yeah, but both Allgaier and Custer have had pretty respectable finishes there.
Went with the points leader, solid pick to go with the points leader.
Yeah.
I did that in 2 of my other 3 picks. And I went with the points leader again, Kyle Larson, because
Yeah.
he's good there.
He
Has
is
one,
good there.
one with Hendrick though, so that's kind of a something to note.
I went with the guy you mentioned as a 2-time winner there, Denny Hamlin. Like you said, hasn't won there in, literally over a decade, but he has still always been good there. He might need a couple things to go his way, but he has a pretty solid shot. I cannot speak right now for some reason. Pretty solid shot of winning. And after last week, he's probably angry. He wants that win. A little bit extra.
Mm-hmm. Dad going with Ryan Blaney.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
That wraps things up pretty much. You, Andrew, if you get everything right, it would mean that I also got one thing right since we all picked Louis Foster. But if you got everything right, you would have a 1-point lead over me this time next week.
Yeah, I think I'll close the gap. But looking to the future here, so we got a big week next week. That's 10 races. The week after that, 12, and then a 2, and then another big week of 11, and then 10. So coming up, gotta make the money.
Yeah. We next week will be almost certainly our first in-person pod in quite some time. And then either that one or I don't know, either that one or the one after that will probably be, well, I don't want to say probably, will hopefully be the last podcast in this style, or the last time we bring you the content in this style, which it would actually be a good thing, and we'll explain that if that happens. If not, then we'll continue on doing this. But yeah, in person soon, and then pretty soon after that, we could be shaking things up.
Shake and bake.
Yeah, but for now, that's all I gotta say. Andrew, you got anything else to say?
Bye.
To me, it looked like he actually lost the wheel.
The wheel for Ross Chastain is still and perfect.
Wheel on the track.
Did you leave the wheel loose?
You picked a fine time to leave me loose, wheel.